where are you actually from, that kind of thing. And I was born here, you know. A lot of us are, and a lot of us that get that question. Or it's the slightly less subtle, like Spic, like Piñata, like playing basketball in Salmo as a teenager and having people in the stands call me and the Guatemalan kid niggers. And then getting jumped on the way to Subway after the game by 2 carloads of people. And having somebody, and well, 2 people, physically assault me because of the way I look. And these are like isolated things. And then there's the everyday thing. And the everyday thing, I think, is it's more everyday. And so I think that's the thing, that it happens every day to me and it happens every day to people that I know. And I think we can do something about it every day just by labeling it for what it is, by standing up, by not being comfortable not being comfortable being comfortable, or allowing other people to be comfortable with that, because it's every day and it really shouldn't be. So what I've always done and what I try to do is I run a boxing club. I'm a business owner in this town. And that was one of the other reasons why, when I was talking to some people about why I didn't want to speak, they said, well, you're a business owner. I could see that. It might be bad for your business. Because this is, we're talking about the police here. We're talking about, I think the overarching feeling in this town is that everything is fine. And nobody wants to have that conversation. It's uncomfortable. But I'm not a business person. I'm not good at it. I'm a person. And if the business part comes before the person part, that's not the way I want to live. And so what I have done down there, and what I keep trying to do, is I try to make that space a space that everybody feels comfortable, everybody feels safe. And that's what I can do. And I can talk more. But I can do that, and I can do that every day. And that's a learning curve for me too, because there's lots of things I don't know. 15-year-old me is not a lot wiser than 41-year-old me, It's been a long way. So I'm trying to make it a safe place for everybody. And I kind of wanted to come out here and make that public too. Because there's incidents that happen every day in the street, just outside the gym, just outside the doors. Racism is every day. Racism is normal. Racism is what we do here. And it's on a whole lot of levels. And so we have to bring that into our everyday. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm bringing it into my everyday. And my business is a business where everybody's welcome. For whatever reason. You don't have to box. If you just need a place to get off the street, if the street is not a safe place for you to be for 10 minutes or an hour or a week, you can come down the stairs. And I'll do my best. So that's more or less all I wanted to say. I think there's a whole other conversation about growing up in this town, and I think a lot of people have their own, everybody has their own story about that. I think, our identities my identity has been a refuge for me, being a person of color, apparently, has not always been a bad thing, Sometimes it's good. Being a little exotic is good here, A lot of girls dated me because I was a little bit brown. And that's a shitty reason to date somebody, but at the time, I was pretty into it. I could take whatever I could get, It's weird how white this place is and how we put everybody else on this pedestal of, not a pedestal, it's not a pedestal. We choose what to see in people, we're curious, you know, and we're curious about you. Where do you come from? But there's so many other things that you could be curious about, you know? Like, I have other things going for me, maybe. So, anyway, our identity is interesting like that, and I think we all, those of us that have struggled with this, and those of us that have struggled, like the people that have spoken before me, that had stories that were explosive and violent and horrible and horrifying, and mine are not that way. To me, I've dealt with them, but dealing with them is part of it. Dealing with them and learning to deal with them and taking refuge in my identity and taking, you know, it's almost like a performance, because that's what people want to hear about. Nobody wants to hear about Poland. They want to hear about Puerto Rico. So I've given them that. I'm compliant. And anyway, I just hope that we can all be less compliant, that we can be a little bit less silent, and we can do a little more. Thank you.
I want to hear about Poland.